Can't you see that I won't waste your time. I'm here to help you find something divine in you. I'm sorry, but you gotta work it right. You gotta work it day and night. Oh no, yeah. Gotta do self work. Gotta get it in. You hear me? That was a little remix of the Gap Band, Whip It. For those of y'all that know, I'm a '70s baby, so you know all kind of shit come to me all kind of ways through songs. You know the ancestors speak to me all kind of ways. You hear me? But we gotta do this work. You hear me? Inside and out, God and man, matter and spirit. What's the difference? And it ain't no difference if you're doing the work. It's all the same. You hear me? So from this lowly estate, my highest aim is to challenge us to think. You hear me? You know, I live from an eternal space of mind. You know, so I paint a picture of the world in a way that it gives us pictures about ourselves. At least for those of us who want to get out the frame. You hear me? You know, that's the mission. The shifts is real, and if you want a quantum jump, that's why I'm here, for those who recognize it. You hear me? I take us to both sides of the stream, light and dark. You hear me? You know, I use words. I use the shirts that I wear. I use everything, you know, to point us to that space that's important for us to become whole. With that being said, stillness, abundance, love, light, health, and wholeness to the cosmic consciousness, family, and soul tribe. Stillness, abundance, love, light, health, and wholeness to the cosmic consciousness, family, and soul tribe. Stillness and abundance, love, light, health, and wholeness to the cosmic consciousness, family, and soul tribe. Peekaboos and passerbys, y'all included. You hear me? But I take us to both sides of the stream because I know positivity only as good as the extent that we have done the inner work to heal. And I'm gonna repeat that. Positivity is only as good as the extent that we have done the inner work to heal. Because if we paying attention, we'll see a lot of people talking about positivity. But what they ain't telling you is that you can't put all that positivity over wounds that ain't healed, over trauma that ain't healed, over pain that ain't healed. They ain't gonna tell you that. You hear me? But I am. You heard? And to change and be whole, we're going to have to put ourselves in a position to be able to accept and confront all that shit that was swept under the rug. Because if you place a whole bunch of positivity, you know, and affirmations, and so forth and so on, up over all that shit that you know that's really going on within, you hear me? It's going to pop up. And all the good, you know, that you manifested at some point in time, or as soon as you at the threshold of your breakthrough, you know, all that other shit gonna rise to the surface, and then you got to deal with it, and it's gonna set everything. If it's gonna set everything that you done, if you did anything to get to the threshold, it's gonna set that back. I hope y'all listening. You hear me? You know, positivity is only as good as the extent that we have done the inner work to heal, to change, and be whole. Otherwise, as I just said, all that mess that was swept under the rug bound to find its way to the surface. You hear me? bound to find its way to the surface. Just as you know, your breakthrough's supposed to be coming through. So I use the light, I use the dark. I use the chaos, you know, to show us order. I use it all. You hear me? You know, and in most cases, we're not ready or prepared to deal with it. You know, when all that shit we don't sweep under the rug finds its way into our external reality. I say it like that. But yeah, truth hurt cause it heals. But I know I'm a disruptor of convention. I know I'm a disruptor of tradition, and I know I'm a disruptor of things that has been made normal that should have never had, but it's needed. Sometimes I think before I act, and sometimes I act before I think. You hear me? Either way, it create balance, not only in my life, but in the lives of others, in the way that I assist others to recognize what's needed, to realize where it's needed. You hear me? In your own life. You heard? So if you hear, don't be, or if you new, don't be surprised if you notice that I'm an ego demolition expert. You hear me? My name is Samuel, but I'm known as Sawu. You hear me? And I don't know about y'all, but when it comes to me, it's easy to be despised when you the one they wanted to be like. You hear me? and I see that my upbringing, my associations, my family members, so forth and so on. I see that in many places, but the work ain't been done. Especially when those, and I say that to say, and I'm gonna say it again, it's easy to be despised when you the one they wanted to be like, especially when those you know and know who you know it. You hear me? They see it too, but they probably will never tell the people who they seeing it in. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. So the best thing you can do, where it's needed, is know how to cut them cords, aka soul ties. You hear me? I don't know who this for or who this to, but you don't want to be you don't want to be one of them people who do what you like, who do what look like the thing to do, because it gets you things externally or materially, but inside you miserable and tired. You don't want to be one of them people. You hear me? It's evident that I be on all kind of bandwidths, not all can see or hear. So on whatever you see or hear, don't misjudge it how you misjudge me for how I show up and show out from the inside out. You hear me? If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. And I say that because everybody sees the storm, but who could be the calmness in the center of it all? Everybody see the storm, but who know how to be the calmness in the center of it all? And I hope everybody feeling good for no reason at all. You hear me? Well, regardless of what storm that you might be going through. Because, as I said in the opening, the shifts are real. But if you want a quantum jump, that's why I'm here. You hear me? And you ain't gonna like everything you hear. And if you do like everything you hear, you probably a gaslighter. You see? And if you don't like everything you hear, then, if you dislike everything that you hear or see, then it should be showing you something about yourself, not about me. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. You hear me? But everybody see the storm. Everybody feel the storm when it's occurring. But who gonna be the calmest in the center of it all? Some of us beginning to figure out what we're here to do, but only a few of us. Only a few of us know what we were sent to do. Is that you? Who am I talking to, or who am I talking for? I say that to say I'm not by mistake. You hear me? And this is no mistake. I'm not an accident, and there are no accidents. You hear me? We could tell people we roll with, as Tupac said, you could tell them people that you roll with whatever you want. But you and I know what's going on. You hear me? Yeah. It's I say that because it's hard to talk about people who doing good within themselves. I don't care what we acquire outside. You hear me? We can tell them people we roll with whatever we want, but it's hard to talk about people. It's hard to talk about anyone who doing good within. But you got to do the work internally. See, and I say that because we're in a world where people busting their behind. People selling their soul. Whether it's to work or whatever, to acquire things. to hide behind or to mask and cover up what's really going on within. And as I said earlier, you know, positivity only good as the extent that we have done the inner work. Materiality is only good as we have did the inner work. But and all the material things that we can acquire while we're here, we're gonna leave all that shit behind once we leave. You hear me? So that's why the inner work is so much important. And me just saying that in itself is important because we know the problems of the outer life reflect our inner states of being. You hear me? And it can be painful to those who lack the capacity to heal themselves. It's even more painful for those who lack the capacity to look at the things that need to be healed. If you don't listen, you're gonna miss it. You hear me? You know, life is a play, and you do yourself a favor when you can laugh at it. And to be able to laugh at it, you got to be able to look at it. You know, not for what you want it to be, but for what it is. So you could turn whatever it is, if you don't like it, into what you want it to be. You hear me? I hope somebody listening. You heard? Oh, y'all. But as I said, life is a play, you know, and you do yourself a favor when you can learn to laugh at it, but you got to learn how to look at it, you know. And as an agent of change, I cause us to look at ourselves, not ourselves in the persona we put on to impress others. You know, we could and I say that to say this: we could deceive people or be deceived by people, but we can never deceive ourselves. You hear me? We can never deceive ourselves. With that being said, I don't care what you went through or what you're going through, but all the hell in the world is worth doing the self-work on yourself, because it puts you right where you're supposed to be. You know, it puts you right where you're supposed to be. And I'm gonna repeat that in case anybody missed it in the back. All the hell we've been through was worth it because it puts you right where you're supposed to be. And a lot of times when we right where we're supposed to be, we don't recognize it. A lot of times when we right around the people who's supposed to be around us, we don't appreciate them. You hear me? So forth and so on. But the work is necessary if you want to be in the timeline of stillness. The self-work is necessary if you want to be in the timeline of abundance. I don't care what you're accumulating now. If you ain't doing no self-work, you're gonna have some trouble showing up. You hear me? So if you want to be in the timeline of these things that I'm about to mention, your self-work gonna be necessary. Cause I am in the timeline of abundance. Are you? I am in the timeline of stillness. Are you? I am in the timeline of love. Are you? I am in the timeline of light. You hear me? Stay light. Are you? I am in the timeline of health. But are you? I am in the timeline of wholeness. Are you? I am in the timeline of growth. Are you? I am in the timeline of expansion. But are you? I am in the timeline of maturity. Are you? I'm in the timeline of joy. But are you? I'm in the timeline of happiness. But are you? I'm in the timeline of wisdom. Are you? My only ism is wisdom. What's yours? See, I am in the timeline of union with source, unity with source, communion, attunement, atonement. Are you? Meaning, I am in the timeline of alignment. But are you? Are you in alignment with your assignment, or your divine assignment, or you in line, or are you aligning yourself with how you want the world to see you? You hear me? I am in a timeline of presence. I am in the timeline of heaven on earth. Are you? I am in the timeline of victory. You hear me? Are you? I am in the timeline of balance? Light and dark. Are you? I am in the timeline of victory. Are you? See? Everything that we think may have been working for us, working against us, been working for us. But you gotta be in the timeline of those previous things that I mentioned to even recognize that. And everything is working out for you. But do you recognize it? You hear me? And if you recognize it, all you gotta do is carry it with you wherever you go. You hear me? If it's good, you deserve it all. If it's good, you deserve it all. See, every time I go into the dark, I come back brighter than I went in. I'm gonna repeat that for y'all in the back who missed it. Every time I go into the dark, I come back brighter than I went in. It's not personal. It's vibrational. I repeat, it's not personal. It's vibrational. See, people of the world chasing the come up. But the people of the divine, people of God, people of source, you see, we embracing the coming back to. Coming back to being one with source. Coming back to being divine. Coming back to being God. See, God is not a being. God is being. I hope y'all caught that. You see, I say that to say, I am that I am. You hear me? As a witness to my own growth. So I validate myself. I don't need no outside help. I validate oneself as being the sovereign being that I am. You hear me? And what I am. You hear me? And that make me a force to be reckoned with. Are you? You hear me? Are you? As I said, everything is working for you. Nothing is working against you. If you know that beyond belief, then everything good. And you deserve it all. See, I be on bandwidth not all can see or hear. So as I said, don't misjudge me for how I show up and show out from the inside out. You hear me? Oh, damn. And I will be on Facebook. I will be back on Facebook. I ain't been on Facebook in about 9 years. And we in the year 9. I ain't been on Facebook about 9 years, but you know, I heard that I was preparing for this video, Facebook next. So I'm gonna be on Facebook, shaking some shit up, stirring some shit up, exposing some lies, you know, and a few people with it. You hear me? As needed, you know. But I'll be on Facebook at some point. I will keep y'all informed. You hear me? When I'm good, when I feel when they give me the green light, but it's I'm putting it in the air, right? I'm putting it in the universe right now. I will be on Facebook at some point, and maybe even TikTok, you know. And I shut my Facebook down, you know, back in 2016 when I did, you know, for all the toxicity that was going on at that time. You hear me? And really tap deeper into, you know, my own journey, you know, and doing this self work, you know, that I speak about so passionately, you know, right now in this moment, you know. But the ancestors told me Facebook next, so I will be back on Facebook at some point in time. The original Samuel, you hear me? But yeah, that's what it is, you know. That's what it is. Before I go, I want to leave y'all with this. If you play cards, you'll get it. You hear me? And I'm sure everybody don't play some type of cards, whether it was Uno, Tonka, Spades, or something. You know, what's the point? But I want to leave y'all with this. What's the point? What's the point of having the best hand if you don't play it properly? What's the point in having the best hand if you don't play it properly? So you can have the best hand in the world, but if you don't play it properly, you lose. You hear me? You lose. Ain't no point in having the best hand if you don't play it properly. You know? So we gonna see as time go on, cause we're in the year 9. You know? Born. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, cultural freedom, power, refinement, equality, equality, God, build or destroy, born, you know, born, 9, you know, and if you did the work, you decipher, you make it complete, you make it whole, you know, stillness, abundance, love, light, health, and wholeness, because you became that in yourself, you hear me? But when the year 9, which in supreme mathematics, come back to born, you hear me? And if you have made all things born, you know, through the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, freedom, power, refinement, equality, God, build or destroying, that you have been doing to put yourself together, then you ought to cipher that, make it complete, you know, the wholeness. You don't listen, you're going to miss it. Like I say, I know a lot of things. I come from many schools of thoughts, you know, and that being said, you know, never try to, if you don't know what the master said like this, if you don't know what the master teacher know, and all of us, whether we recognize it or not, don't have the master teacher appear in our life, you know, whether it was a relative, you know, or somebody outside our family structure, all of us don't have a master teacher come into our life. Most times we don't recognize it. You hear me? I don't have many master teachers come into my life and add on with what I was already given. You hear me? Because I've been tapped in since I was 3. You know, seeing the shadow figures. You heard? So, and it may be, and that may sound foreign to some people. That's neither here nor there to me. Because as I say, you know, as a sovereign being, I'm here to validate myself. You know, and that's clear through all the things that I express, all the places I don't took us through. You hear me? I ain't here to sugarcoat it, I ain't here to add on to it, but I damn sure ain't here to take away from it. I'm gonna tell it how it is. You hear me? Because it's the truth that's gonna set us free. You know. But and with that being said, you know, like I say, I'm gonna keep us posted, because I will be on Facebook. You know, in the present future. But I'll keep us posted on that, because that's what I was told to do. And obedience is always better than sacrifices. And if you're being obedient, you ain't got no business out here making no sacrifices, because, you know, them sacrifices going require any sacrifice requires something of you. You hear me? And if you put yourself on the line, if you put yourself on the cross, then we ain't got no business out here doing no sacrifices. You heard? And that ain't no slight against, you know, nobody or whatever you practice, but I'm just telling you how it is. You know, sacrifice is gonna require a sacrifice of you of some sort. You hear me? But with that being said, feel good for no reason at all. You hear me? And feel good for no reason at all. And once again, feel good for no reason at all. And one more time, stillness, abundance, love, light, health, and wholeness. You hear me? And all you do, be you how you be you. I'm known as Sawu. Peace to the Cosmic Conscious family and soul tribe. You hear me? I know I gave y'all something to think about, so I don't gotta hope. You hear me? With that, till we do it again. Once again, be you how you be you. And I'm out. Peace. Love y'all.